So, and by the way, what I'm hearing, and I get along well with Jay Collins, but Renner's doing quite well among the base, the party base. Byron, we'll talk about that. But Collins, I think there's another thing that I'm hearing from listeners going, why is Collins' numbers dropping? And so you get some that are saying, well, we blame DeSantis for not coming out and endorsing. The other side that are questioning Collins is, why did not the governor endorse Collins? Yeah. Maybe just because they think that the governor saw something. I kind of know why, but they saw something, and that raises the red flag. That's why they're not. That's why Collins' numbers are dropping.
He's just committed recently 2 pretty big errors of judgment with the lawsuit against Fishback, like you said, which backfired, and then you may have also seen where he went after Griffin with Citadel. For, being big money. Well, that was one of Ron DeSantis' biggest supporters. Right. So what did he do? He then blamed a subcontractor for putting that on the social media. And my immediate reaction to that, and I'm not saying this to bash him, but my immediate reaction was, why should I trust you to run the state if you can't run your own social media? And I think a lot of people are wondering the same thing. I mean, the guy just made 2 pretty big mistakes, and I think that's why Collins' numbers are slumping since.
So let me tell you what's going on. Lindsay covered this. I've covered this. I know, Matt, you have as well. In 2023, the state of Florida does curriculums. They look at the curriculum. Remember 2022, some of the stuff that was in their CRT and whatever was claimed to be, and all that.
Manny Diaz, our then commissioner of education, was great. He ran FDOE and was awesome.
Florida Department of Education. And so the governor said, we're going to upgrade African American studies for middle graders. And a couple of people that wrote the curriculum happened to be black. Okay. And all they said was there were things that were involved in slavery. Lindsay, and I'm paraphrasing this. They said that those that were slaves actually learned some of these trades to benefit themselves. Like for example, like if you're in prison, you learn a trade or a craft. This way, if you get out of prison, or for those in slavery that were no longer slaves, they could use something that would benefit lives. They learned it and blah, blah.
Right. They could get a job afterwards.
Right. It didn't advocate slavery. Though Al Sharpton's the far left took it out of context. So this happened in the summertime of 2023. That's all it said. They said, we got a problem with this because it sounds like you endorse slavery. All it just said was that because the slaves, they were learning a trade. They were learning things that were used against them. They used it for themselves. That's how I read it.
Right.
So Byron came out, said it was stupid, pretty much called the governor dumb. They shouldn't have done this. And then DeSantis was asked about it, and he pretty much said, Lindsay, well, he referred to Byron Donalds. He goes, well, they want to align themselves with Kamala Harris. Knock yourself out. So those clips are starting to come back up again from some of the Collins and who knows, maybe from the Renner people, whatever. But when you play the clip, we had to edit it, but because it was so long, but we played it. It doesn't look doesn't make him look that great. So that's what DeSantis calling him Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I know. It's bad. It's a bad look for him. I feel like this is too little too late. Like, I don't know if that's going to have the teeth in it to actually do anything like for his, I think with the polls, like he's kind of been stagnant. He hasn't really like gone up or down. So I don't know if this is anything to change the outcome of what's going on in the polls, but I do think it's a knock on him. I think it'll resonate with the base because I think it will remind us of what has happened in the past, which most people don't even pay attention to. But if you are paying attention, you'll remember.
Matt, are we starting to see, I know you were telling me, because we look at numbers here at Florida Daily, Matt's will tell me when, he does his website and all the other stuff. I say, hey, Matt, what are some of the big stories that you've been covering and stuff like that? And Matt's always given, like scams has always been good for us at Florida Daily. Matt's always just, he'll cover it and stuff like that, politics. But I asked Matt, I said, Matt, tell me out of all of the, like a lot of publications and stuff, is the foot traffic picking up in the governor's race? And Matt, I think the foot traffic's been picking up for us at Florida Daily because we've been talking about a lot of inside baseball. Or to me, it's low information, as they say, low information voting. I just think you've got low enthusiasm all around for this governor's race.
Yes, that's definitely the case. And chalk it up to, the leader, Byron Donalds. He's not very exciting. That doesn't necessarily mean someone is not going to be a good governor. Rick Scott was not an exciting guy. He still isn't. but he was extremely effective at cutting waste and redundancy. In fact, on a quick side note, I think that's one of the reasons why he doesn't get along with DeSantis, because he really paved the way for a lot of DeSantis' fiscal success. So when you have the supposed leader as someone who doesn't have much personality, who is just riding the coattails of endorsement, I think that's one of the reasons why you see the low enthusiasm. Now, the big thing is, can Renner or Collins capitalize on the lack of enthusiasm for Donalds and steal some of that support? I don't think there's enough time left to do that. I think they waited too long.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's like a little too late. I mean, early voting starts August 8th. Yeah, August 8th. So it's kind of.
In Orange County, you can start next week.
Wow.
So it's right here.
Well, and people are just thinking, I mean, obviously, there's so many families here in the state of Florida. We're focused on getting our kids back to school, and we're not focused. I don't think people are really focusing on this election at all, which is it's sad. But it's what's, it is what it is.
Well, I told this story last week, and I'll bring it back up. I had another friend of mine who, hey, usually when people ask me, like in local city races, they don't know who to vote for city election, school board, or county commission. They know, Matt, hey, I'm voting for president. I know who I'm going to vote for Senate and governor. It's been the opposite way around. We know who we're voting for county commission. For governor,
yeah, it's interesting.
We have no clue. I think you're going to see what's called an undervote, which happens a lot, where people just skip it. I think that could be the Jolly and Donalds. If Donalds becomes the nominee, I think that's going to happen.
And if there's rain, good Lord, we may have the lowest turnout ever. I mean, I've seen now 3 total Byron Donalds signs, 1 in Winter Park, 2 in Windermere. So basically the 2 richest places.
Wow.
In most of Central Florida.
I've just seen 1.
Yeah.
I've seen 1. I've seen a couple Renner, couple Fishback, couple Collins.
I see a lot of signs for Renner in Brevard County, my home county, just on the coast. And, you can't take one county and run with it. But, it is. I've never seen in the last 20 years anything like this as far as a gubernatorial process.
But Lindsay's exactly correct. The anti-Byron Donalds crowd, and again, I'm not putting one over the other. Yeah, where in the F have you all been?
Yeah.
I mean, again, we were too busy trying to get on Fox News instead of running ads on radio to expose your opponent out there. And they've all dropped the ball.
Yeah, I agree.
They've all dropped the ball. I mean,
and that's why their poll numbers are the way that they are.
Well, I mean, I understand Renner wanted the debate, and I get it. He knew he was going to get that one. And yes, it's odd that Byron's out there wanting a debate with David Jolly, and I have no clue what Collins is doing these days. I mean, I follow all the races like all you guys do, but I still believe by the way, real quick, Lindsay and I were having this conversation on the air. If Donalds becomes the nominee, I guarantee you Fishback is not endorsing Donalds.
No.
At all, no. Matt. In fact, I think Fishback's hoping that Donalds will lose so Fishback can run 4 years from now. That's what I think.
Renner might endorse him. I don't think Collins will. He might, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's no endorsements. That would be another interesting thing about this whole election cycle, because we've never really seen that before, have we? Where nobody
endorses. Yeah, and then the governor, I don't think that whoever wins the nomination, I can't imagine he would endorse.
I think DeSantis will say, given if someone presses him, he'll say, given the choice, well, of course, I would go for the Republican. But I do not see him proactively going out there on the trail with Byron Donalds.
Yeah, watch. He's going to get blamed. They're going to blame DeSantis for, saying, hey, this wouldn't have happened if he would have come out and endorsed the candidate in the primary or Donalds or whatever. So,
do you think Collins is going to drop out? Or do you think it's too close? Yeah, might as well just do it.
So, well, it's a good discussion, but we'll keep you updated on this whole race. And somebody sent me a text message because somebody put out a fake meme, said that Bobby Williams was up in all the numbers of the absentee ballots.
You can't even determine that. All they count is by party. So that's just an assumption that all these Republicans are voting for him. Unfortunately, people believe this stuff, though.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's like when I talk about 2020 voter election fraud. Oh, the state of Georgia didn't sign its tabulators, so that's 315,000 votes. I got to get swiped. I'll get wiped away. I go, well, the problem is you don't know who they voted in favor of.
Right.
They all voted. Yeah.
A lot of assumptions made. Right.
Yeah, the assumptions. So, all right. Another edition of the Florida Daily Show. Like our page on YouTube, subscribe to it, and don't forget to read everything and watch us every day at floridadaily.com.